Hello, Indian Creek 8th grade students. This is Mr. Roush. We've been talking about World War I in Chapter 23 in Social Studies. This is the last section, and this section is about searching for peace and what to do to make sure that this never happens again. Let's get started. After the war, 27 world leaders gathered in Paris, France, for a peace conference. When Wilson arrived, great crowds cheered for him and even threw flowers in his path. They had banners that read, "Long live Wilson." Much of Europe lay in ruins. There were over 9 million soldiers killed as well as millions of other civilians. Many people looked to Wilson to help build a better post-war world. Wilson had a vision of a lasting peace in Europe. His peace plan was called Wilson's 14 Points. Most of his points in his plan had to do with the adjustment of the boundaries and the creation of new nations. Those points reflected Wilson's belief in natural self-determination, which is the right of the people to decide how they should be governed. Wilson also proposed a number of principles for conducting international relations. These included calls for free trade, freedom of the seas, and an end to secret treaties or agreements, reductions in the limits on arms, and the peaceful settlement of disputes over colonies. The peace conference was dominated by the Big Four. The Big Four consisted of President Wilson from the United States, David Lloyd from Great Britain, Vittorio Orlando from Italy, and George Clemenceau from France. Germany and Russia were not invited to this peace conference. Although the people of Europe loved Wilson, the leaders were a little weary of his 14 points. Since Germany invaded France twice, Clemenceau wanted to make sure that Germany would never again invade France. He believed that Germany should also be broken up into smaller countries. Both France and Germany leaders, Clemenceau and George, wanted Germany to make reparations, which are payments for the damage caused in war. At the same time, the Allies had to decide how to deal with the new Bolshevik government of Russia. Fearing the spread of communism, France, Britain, and the United States supported anti-Bolshevik forces fighting for control of Russia. All three of those countries sent troops into Russia. On June 28, 1919, after months of difficult negotiations, the Allies and Germany signed a treaty at the Palace of Versailles outside of Paris. The harsh terms of the treaty shocked the Germans. In defeat, however, they had no choice but to sign. Under the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany had to accept full responsibility for the war and pay billions of dollars in reparations to the Allies. Germany also had to disarm completely and give up all of its overseas colonies and some territory in Europe. The treaty also carved up the Austro-Hungarian and Russian empires to create new nations or restore old ones. The emergence of these nations fulfilled part of Wilson's vision of natural self-determination. Many of the borders of the new countries were disputed, however, this led to future conflicts. The Treaty of Versailles was presented to the United States Senate for ratification in July of 1919. Many had doubts about the treaty. Many Americans were worried about the participation in the League of Nations. Henry Cabot Lodge opposed the treaty. He claimed American troops and American ships may be ordered to any part of the world by nations other than the United States, and it was a proposition to which I, for one, can never assent. So Henry Lodge was opposed to the treaty because any time there was any altercation or any fighting going on in Europe, he felt that because of the League of Nations, the United States would be obligated to send their troops as well as their ships over to Europe to help sort out the problem. In September, of 1919, Wilson went on a national speaking tour to rally support for the treaty and the League of Nations. On September 25th, Wilson had collapsed. The rest of his tour was canceled. While back in Washington, Wilson suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed. Following President Wilson's stroke, the opposition to the treaty grew even stronger. The Treaty of Versailles and the League of Nations were rejected by the Senate. In 1921, the United States signed a separate peace treaty with each of the Central Powers, and it never joined the League of Nations. So that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and have a great day.